Hello everyone! I'm Malika, and as you can tell by the title of this video, it's going to be all about amigurumi. So amigurumi is a type of crochet that involves crocheting a sort of 3D shape and stuffing it. So it's usually used to make toys, but it can be used for essentially pretty much anything as long as it's crocheted in a 3D shape, stuffed, and then either sewed or crocheted shut. So the versatility of it basically means you could make pretty much anything that you can imagine with amigurumi, and in my opinion it's the type of crochet that just has the most range for creativity. Like, you know, there are some amazing shawls and scarves and blankets out there, and like, you know, that's what I love to crochet, but there is a limit to what you can do because you're limited by shape, whereas with amigurumi there is no limit to the shape. You can literally make any shape that you can imagine. You can stitch it with the right combination. So there's just so many amazing amigurumi patterns out there, and so many of them are free, which I think is wonderful, that people, you know, put the time and effort into making a design and then let other people have it for free, which I think is so cool. But when I first started crochet, amigurumi was something I thought, right, I just have to try that. So once I'd sort of mastered the basic stitches and had made a few things that were flat, I decided to give it a go and to make my first amigurumi. And it failed really badly. So I decided to make an amigurumi snail, and I started off following a tutorial on YouTube. But you see the shell? That was meant to be the body. It was meant to be a long tube, and it sort of came out in this weird circle thing. So I was like, alright, you know what, I'm just gonna do my own thing. So I stopped following the pattern. So I finished off the shell that should have been the body. I finished it off, and then I started crocheting the body in like a long tube. And basically when I stuff things, I keep all my yarn ends from all my other projects and I use them to stuff it, but because I'd crocheted too loosely, you can sort of see it poking through the holes, and it's really ugly because it's just like bunches of different colours that don't go together at all, just sort of poking through the holes in the stitches. And then the shell itself was sewn on really badly because I was having to sort of sew through the different angles, and I'm terrible at sewing. Like, it is my #1 flaw when it comes to crochet, is I'm useless at sewing. So yeah, sewing that back on, and then I gave it the world's ugliest, most terrifying face. Like, that is not a snail you want to meet. Like, that is the snail that haunts your nightmares. And it's so ugly, and I hate this thing so much. I was so disappointed. So I can be really self-critical because I set myself such high standards. So when I failed this spectacularly, I mean, look at it, it's horrible. So I was really disappointed, and I showed my husband. He was like, oh, it's cute, and I'm like, no, it's not. And I was just like, you can have it, because yeah, I mean, I hate this thing. But he said he liked it, and he keeps it on the bedside table. But basically this failure stopped me from attempting amigurumi since basically my first few weeks of crochet. But so my husband, total tangent here, but my husband, he started, when The Mandalorian launched on Disney Plus, he started watching it, and he got really into it. So I decided for our anniversary, which was back in March, I wanted to do something really special for him, and I decided I wanted to make him a Baby Yoda, who's one of the characters on the show, and it's just the cutest thing ever. I love Baby Yoda. But I mean, amigurumi, and so I was like, oh, do I love him that much? But I do love him that much. So meet Baby Yoda! Oh, he is the cutest little thing. It's got this little coat that I sort of crocheted separately. But yeah, this is my little Baby Yoda that I made for him. And I mean, much as I'm so happy with how it turned out, like, I really, really love it, it was just the most horrendous, nightmarish experience to crochet ever. So I made the head. I think I made that in like January, and then I just put the project aside because I was done with it. I was like, I hate this so much. Because the thing with amigurumi is you need to make your stitches so tight to make sure the stuffing doesn't show through. So you have to use a hook size down, you have to do it really tightly. It's all single crochet, crocheted in a spiral, so you have to like count constantly and keep the number in your head because you cannot lose count, because where you're not slip stitching each round, it's literally just one continuous round. If you lose count, I mean, you're screwed basically. So yeah, so the head took, I don't even know how many hours just by itself, and you can sort of see sort of spiral lines coming out of the top of his head where the decreases are, but that's not obvious on like the back or the front or anything. So I made that, and then about a month later, because the anniversary was starting to come up, I'm like, right, I need to get to it. So I started I started crocheting the rest of it. So the body you made from the legs up and then sort of worked your way in and out. And it was just basically a real experience because it was something I hadn't really had much experience with since the snail thing. But it wasn't like, I was gonna say I didn't hate it, but honestly I did hate it. But it was like I got that rewarding feeling of seeing it come together, which was amazing. I really loved that. But for me, it was just so hard to make. And when it came to sewing on the pieces, so basically the ears are separate, the head's separate, the body's separate, and the arms are separate. So there was a lot of sewing to do. And as I've mentioned before, I am absolutely no good at sewing whatsoever. So that was really stressful for me because you can sort of see where the ears are attached. It's not particularly sort of well done. The stitches aren't really flat. The head, you know, you can very clearly see the line of where they're joined. And what I did with the ears as well, so the main pattern for the body I found on Ravelry. I'm not going to link in the description just because I don't want Disney to hit me with copyright. So I know you can get hit for that kind of thing for like sharing patterns and stuff. So with this one, I'd like to just disclaimer, I made it purely as a gift for my husband. I will not be selling it. I will not be sharing the pattern. I will not be making any more of them. It was literally a one-off thing that I made for my husband and will not be making again. But yeah, so what I did, I chose the ears from a different pattern because I loved the pattern, the body for this Yoda, especially with the little arms. Look how cute they are. But I didn't like the ears that came with the initial pattern, so I used the ears from another one and attached it to him. And then with the eyes, I was having real problems finding safety eyes in shops and stuff, and I didn't want to order from online just because I'd really want to see them in person to know they were right for my project. So what I did in the end, I got a Sharpie and just drew them on, because where it's not being used for kids or anything, there's no danger of them licking it or whatever. So I felt, you know, there's no real safety risk in using Sharpie, and I don't intend on putting Yoda through the wash because he shouldn't be getting dirty. It's just going to be a little decorative thing. And then with the coat as well, that was made separately, and then I decided it didn't actually come with the bow, but I decided to put that on just to sort of hold it together. And the coat was actually not as bad to make, I guess, because I didn't have to crochet quite as tightly because it wasn't going to be having stuffing in it. So it was still made with mostly single crochet, but there was that sort of variation of I could work it in rows rather than in one continuous piece. And then I just did like a different colour for the collar, which sort of bends up, so I made it long and then so I could bend it round just to create that bit of extra texture, and you can see the nice collar at the front. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge difference from this pathetic little snail with the scary face to a piece I'm actually really proud of. And I think this sort of shows the progress I'd made throughout the year with my crochet. Even though I hadn't been doing any other amigurumis, I'd been sort of building on the techniques I have with my crochet through all my various other flat and round pieces. So when it came to actually making the 3D amigurumi for Baby Yoda, I had those skills already in my arsenal, so it's just a case of putting them all together. The sad thing is though, much as I absolutely love how this turned out, I probably won't be making any more amigurumi, at least for the foreseeable future, simply because I don't enjoy making them. Like, I love how they turn out, I love seeing everyone else's pieces, but for me, I just hate how cramped my hand gets having to work so small with the stitches. So, I mean, it's something that's really sad for me because I do really genuinely want to be able to make them because they're like, I think they look amazing. There's so many I see, I'm like, I really want to make that, but I just... If any of you know of any sort of like surefire ways to reduce hand cramp when you're making amigurumi, I would absolutely love some advice on that, because that is the one thing that's holding me back, is I just hate having to work such tight, tiny stitches. So if you guys know any workarounds for that, please, please, please let me know. Let little Baby Yoda know. Please let her know your advice. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's like giving you an idea of what amigurumi is and what can be accomplished with it. And I hope you just liked seeing my pathetic snail and my not so pathetic Baby Yoda. But yes, please do like the video. Drop a comment down below to say what you thought. And like I said, if you have advice, please, please share it. And do subscribe to the channel for more crochet and yarn videos in the future. Bye bye.